until you win, effort always goes unnoticed.
Yeah.
Get used to it. No one roots for you until everyone roots for you. That's just how it works.
Yeah. People only root for those who don't need to be rooted for.
It's strange to think about how mimetic and fallible everyone, me and you, everybody that's listening to this is. There's stuff that I've said on this podcast for like 6 years, since the first time that I ever said it, 7 years. And it's only been within the last 18 months that it's gone viral.
Yeah, right.
It's the same sentence, the exact same sentence, said into the same microphone, slightly nicer lighting. And in some ways it's reassuring because you go, I fucking knew that was right. I knew that thing that I was saying was right, and I kept saying it until people realized that it was right. But another part of it is the medium matters more than the message in many ways. The frame matters more than the picture.
I would say that the medium and the message are inextricably linked. Like if Elon Musk tweets, I'm taking a shit, it will get a zillion shares because he's the richest man on earth and has done more entrepreneurial endeavors that have pushed humanity, I think, more than anyone else at this point. And so like you can't separate the message from the messenger. And I remember when I was in middle school, I learned this lesson where I was in Spanish class and there was the class clown or whatever. And I was like, I want people to laugh at my jokes. And so I made a joke that was a joke that guy probably would have made. And it was a self-deprecating joke. But the thing is that like that guy was kind of a bum, and like him making self-deprecating jokes made sense because of the context of who he was. But I was a straight A student who was really good at sports, and no one thought it was funny. And fast forward, 10 years, there was a joke that I had in our fraternity, which is there's nothing funny about an in-shape body. And so like I agree with you in that the medium of the message matters. And so people won't root for you because we use the delivery mechanism usually as a filter for whether we should even trust the source. And so I tell the story of the teacher who's talking about dollar cost averaging into the S&P and giving investing advice. Like they might be like, man, like I give better investing advice than Warren Buffett does. Like he's saying the same thing as me. It's like, and you know what? You're probably right. The only problem is you didn't build Berkshire Hathaway. And so no one gives a shit. And so the thing is that we use someone's evidence and authority as a filter for how little we need to process the information. Because if you're listening to a teacher, you have to then think, okay, can I separate the message from the person? Can I independently analyze this and say, is it good? Is it bad? If Warren Buffett says, you should buy this, you don't need to analyze it. You figure he knows more than me. He has more perspective and I will just take it as fact. And so it's actually lazy consumption on behalf of everyone else that gives authority so much resonance and so much shareability because they're also protected, because if you share something Elon says, you're protected by Elon and his brand.
Yeah.
And so the hard work is getting to the point where you have the evidence that people are willing to feel safe agreeing with you. And the only way for them to feel safe agreeing with you is for you to disagree with them for a very long period of time until you prove that you're right.
Rory Sutherland's got an idea where he says, no one gets fired for hiring KPMG.
Yeah, such a good line.
And it's true. People would sooner fail by following a blueprint that's been done before than risk succeeding by trying something new. Because if you try the new thing, any failure is on your shoulders. If you follow the blueprint, even if it's been total dog shit the last 10 times that you tried it, but we followed the blueprint, we did the thing that was the same before. Michael Malice, literal professional internet troll, told me when one of the first times that we met, I wouldn't be able to say 1/10 of the shit that I can if I was taller than 5'7". He's like a small guy, but he can get away with being kind of like the Loki of politics on Twitter. Because if he's, 6'5" and built like Alan Richer, it's going to seem like he's bullying.
Yeah.
But there's something funny about him, like, like, dipping away. There's also something like, until you win, effort always goes unnoticed. I realized this and it made me like a little dispirited how fallible people are around success. So do you remember Billy McFarland, the guy that did Fire Festival, that festival at Pablo Escobar's island, and then everyone got stranded and nearly died?
Yeah.
If he'd been able to pull off an even remotely passable event, people would have hailed him as a marketing genius.
Yeah.
Regardless of the fact that he was continually flying back to New York to raise money in an unethical way for a project that he didn't know if it was going to work and all the rest of this stuff. So literally the line between charlatan grifter who's out of his depth and visionary pioneer who makes things work when no one else believes that they can is just outcome.
Everyone thinks you're crazy until it works. And so, I mean, if you think of the outcome as the trump card, then all of the pain and suffering that you lead up to that point, if you're just, I'm trying to think of an appropriate saying, I was going to say balls deep certain, that no matter what, you will die or you will get there, then the likelihood that all of the things that you've done up to that point will then be justified in retrospect is super high. And I actually see that as super compelling as a thing to latch onto in harder times.
Yes, but the ends justifying the means is a slippery slope.
I'm a Machiavellian guy, so.
Have you seen, speaking of that, and you mentioned Robert Greene earlier on, you should buy the 25th anniversary edition of 48 Laws of Power, which just came out last year.
Yeah.
It's leather-bound, gold embossed.
I have.
Oh, you got it? And you've seen the thing on the edges? Yeah.
His face is very cool.
The best.
Yeah.
The
super cool printing. Yeah.
Dude. So for the people that don't know, you remember you would get those things in packets of cereal when you were a kid, and you could sort of move a little bit of plastic from left to right, and it would look like a football player was running or something like that. It's basically the same, but on the edge of a book. If it's flat, it's just gold foil. If you open it one way so that the pages splay out, it's Robert Greene's face. And if you open it so the pages splay out in the other way, it's Machiavelli's face. The fucking coolest book. Just, and I've seen a lot of influencer gifting of books is a big deal at the moment. You know, you send the book out and maybe they'll post about it and it'll help with sales or whatever. And there's some very elaborate ways. I'm sure that you've received some of these because I know that you're on the same mailing list as I am. There's some of these that are super, super elaborate. And I remember being like, oh, that was like, I don't know, like cool or whatever. But that Robert Greene book, as soon as I saw that it did that, and I'm sending a fucking video of this to anyone that I can. Like, this is like magic.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what is it? You're doing sales because you sucked at marketing. You're doing marketing because you sucked at product.
That's a great Navalism. Yeah, it's so funny because, like with the book launch, I didn't do any of that. I want people to read the book. Because like if someone posts about the book before the book's out, then like I wanted no one to have read the book until the day it was out, you know? But yeah, the longer I've been in at least the business game, and we were talking about Legendary Foods, it's just product. Like I had a roommate way back in the day who's now a really successful entrepreneur, and we were both like early days poor as shit. We happened to live together, and he read this book. He just told me the title, and it just like stuck with me. He said, "Too Good to Fail." And I just love that as a frame. It's like, if I open a sandwich shop, how can I make the sandwiches too good? Like, just if someone takes a bite, they're like, fuck, this is the best sandwich I've ever had. Like, if you just get that, then the rest of it doesn't matter. And so when you're like, I mean, I think about this in business decisions, but probably also in life decisions. I think Tim Ferriss talks about this, the one big domino. It's like, what is the one thing that if I just get this one thing right, everything else shrinks into irrelevance? And I think about that from like the hero story of what you said with Joe Rogan, which I love that frame. It's like, okay, boom, now you're present in your movie. What would that guy do? It's like, well, what one big thing could that guy accomplish that would make all of the mediocrity of your life up to this point irrelevant? And why are you not putting every single ounce of your effort to prove that one point so that you could then justify everything up to that point? So it wouldn't have been mediocrity. It would have been the path to get there. Exactly. Thank you. It would have been the journey.
Alex, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming on. What's next? What can people expect from you next few months?
Well, all my effort is in the Skool Games. So we're, I mean, I can talk about them. I can not talk about them. Yeah. So I just made the biggest investment of my life. I'm now co-owner of Skool.com. It's a platform where you can build what you want to build, learn what you want to learn, and schools will give you the tools, the community, and the education to help you. And so we've actually created a whole thing where people can start all this stuff for free. Because I believe my whole platform has been education. That's what I believe in. I think the education system is broken, and teachers don't get paid or given the resources to actually teach students. And they're supposed to teach tests that they know don't help students. Students get educated on stuff that doesn't matter in the real world, and they go into mountains of debt for a piece of paper that doesn't make them anything to pay off the debt that they're in for the rest of their lives. And I hate all of it, which is why we started making the content that we do. And so this is one big investment that I'm doing to try and make my small dent towards helping fix that. And I obviously talk about business. That's what I know. Okay. But one person can't do that. Like, I can't change. I mean, I can try, but like, I don't think one person's going to change the world. And so, I wanted to invest in a platform that would help other people do that for one another. And so whether it's like, how to paint and you want to teach people to paint, how to fix Hondas and you want to teach people to do that. Like, there are so many more useful skills that we can trade with one another. And I think Ben Franklin said, there's no more noble a deed than to help another know more, to educate. And I wholeheartely believe that. And so, that's what I'm investing my dollars and my time into. And so, that's like my whole next year.